So imagine driving all that way to meet a guy from Grindr, only to get there and realise he's lied about his height, his weight, his age. Basically, the guy standing in front of me wasn't the guy I thought I was going to be meeting. I'd already confronted him about it. I was pissed off. And at this point, I genuinely thought there was absolutely no chance anything was happening between me and this guy. But somehow, I ended up in his bedroom. And by the end of the night, I understood him a lot more than I thought I would. So, let me explain. Welcome to this episode of Gay Talk. Welcome to Gay Talk. Yes! So if you've watched part 1, you'll know exactly where we left off. I'm standing outside this guy's house and I've basically just confronted him. I'm like, why have you just lied to me? Because the guy standing in front of me was someone completely different to what I was expecting. He was a lot shorter than he'd made himself look like in his Grindr pictures. He's obviously gained a lot of weight since those pictures were taken. He's older than I thought he was, and obviously all those things combined really annoyed me and pissed me off. I travelled all that way to meet him after a long week in the truck, in that mood the whole day. And I'm just standing there thinking, why couldn't you have just been honest with me? But the weird thing is, the longer I stood there talking to him, the more I actually started calming down. Once we'd actually spoken a little bit, I realised he wasn't actually a bad guy at all. He was the complete opposite. He was one of the nicest guys I've met. He was embarrassed, you could kind of tell he was embarrassed, and I think he knew at this point he'd severely screwed up. I started thinking, right, maybe I'll hear him out. This is where things get a bit juicy, right? So he tells me that he lives with his brother. My mind just goes boom when he says that. Because when we're talking on Grindr, we're not talking trying to arrange a coffee date. We're talking because we're trying to arrange one of these days. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, babe.
And I'm just thinking to myself, wait, your brother's up there. This is going to make it a bit awkward, isn't it? Because if your brother's there and we do get up to the hanky-panky, he's going to hear us. He's going to hear us doing the deed. Do you know what I mean? What happens if his brother just walks in to check on his brother and sees me just lying there? Do you know what I mean? Am I going to have to meet his brother? Because that would be awkward, wouldn't it? That'd be very awkward. What am I going to say to him? Hello there, I am your brother's bit on the side. I'll just be in his room lying down if you need me. No. Absolutely no chance that's going to happen. So, all of that was going through my head. But eventually, I just thought, screw it. I'll go up the stairs. I'll have a coffee with him. I wasn't expecting anything else to happen. We'll just talk. And if I don't feel comfortable, I'll just leave. Because I felt safe with him, to be honest. So we go up the stairs and eventually we're sitting in his bedroom talking. And this is where he really started coming out of his shell. He started telling me about his dating life. He told me how difficult he found it to meet guys and basically said that whenever he was completely honest on dating apps, nobody was interested. In his words, gay guys are simply just way too fussy and their standards are way too high. Now, this guy was genuinely not looking for a boyfriend or anything like that. He just wanted a bit of fun. The conversation then started getting a bit deeper. He started telling me how lonely he'd been feeling recently. He said that his life has become quite lonely, isolating, and it was actually starting to get him down, and his mental health has been affected as a result of that. And when we started talking about his insecurities again, that being his height, his weight, how he looked, you could tell that it put him down quite a lot. He basically told me that he felt like if he'd put his actual height on Grindr and used his recent pictures, guys just wouldn't want to meet him. And that's when I started understanding him that little bit more. Seeing the emotions come out of him and being able to tell that it was genuine really hit hard. Now, don't get me wrong, I still don't agree with what he did. If you're going to meet someone from a dating app, you should genuinely be honest about who you are. Dating apps are becoming dangerous these days and you don't want anything getting linked back to you. Eventually, you're going to see the person. They're gonna fucking see you. Stop hiding who you are. You can't exactly hide your height when you're standing 2 feet in front of someone, can you? But after sitting listening to him, I started putting myself in his shoes a little bit. Like, he wasn't proud of what he had done. He wasn't sitting there thinking he'd successfully tricked me. He was just insecure. He was lonely. And he genuinely believed that if he showed guys exactly what he looked like, nobody would give him a chance. And I think that's where I started looking at him differently. Instead of sitting there thinking, this guy's catfished me, I just started thinking, this is actually just a guy who's struggling with his confidence. And I could understand that, to be honest, because we've all been there, haven't we? We've all been there with insecurities. And that's basically why I stayed. Once I'd actually took the time to talk to him, I realised he was just another human being like me, suffering from insecurities. He wanted attention, he wanted affection, he wanted to have fun. And underneath everything that had happened, he was actually a really kind, caring guy. And again, I'm not saying that that makes lying okay. It doesn't. But I could understand why he done it a lot more than I could when I was standing outside his house completely raging at him, wanting to. And after all that, the whole mood just started changing. Because we're sitting there talking and we're actually getting along really well. We started talking about video games, what we liked in guys, what we like to do in the bedroom, just the normal stuff you talk about when you're attracted to someone or getting to know someone. The more we talked, the more I realised how similar we were. And I felt comfortable around him. I felt safe around him, which is mad considering what he's just done, lying about his height and all that stuff. Not too long before, I'd been standing outside his house thinking, what have I got myself into? And now I'm sitting in his bed having a laugh with him. So yeah, the mood definitely started to change. We were sitting on his bed talking, and I don't know, something genuinely just came over me. I started getting back into the mood I'd been in all day. I was comfortable. I was sitting in shorts with my skin touching his covers on his memory foam bed. The bed was comfy. We're sitting close together. We're getting on, and the attraction started coming back. Then eventually he leaned over and we started kissing. One thing led to another, and yes, after all of that, we hooked up. We hooked up. Who was expecting that? Now, I know what you guys are going to say to me in the comment section below. After everything I just said to him, outside his house, I still ended up hooking up with him. How did I feel afterwards? Honestly, I was about 50-50. One half of my brain is telling me you've just completely lowered your standards, you've just met someone that's lied to you the whole day, what are you doing? Meanwhile, on this side of the brain, I'm thinking I've done my good deed. I've met a guy, I've not judged him on his looks, I've judged him on his personality and how he makes me feel. At the end of the day, the hookup was actually good. It was fine. He was clean, he was respectful, we got along, I felt safe around him. I felt I could talk to him about anything. What more could you really ask for? And I know this guy had obviously been struggling with rejection and loneliness for quite a while, so there was that part of me where I was genuinely glad that I had taken some time to even just talk to this guy instead of judging him and walking away. But I do just want to make one thing crystal clear to all you guys watching this, right? I didn't hook up with him because I felt sorry for him. I wasn't doing charity work. I hooked up with him because after sitting talking to him and getting to know him, I actually wanted to hook up with him. There's a huge difference between the two. Looking back at it now, I think the biggest thing I learned from the whole situation was never to judge a book by its cover. Because especially on dating apps, we're all guilty of it. You look at someone's picture, not my type. Swipe! That guy's too short. Swipe! That guy's old enough to be my dad and looks a bit like Captain Birdseye. Swipe! Whatever your reason is, you're going to find a reason to swipe left on someone. And it's too easy to forget that there's an actual person behind each of those profiles that crave the same as what me and you crave. They've got feelings, they've got emotions, they've got insecurities, they want affection and hookups and relationships just like everybody else. And you guys need to remember that we all want the same things in life. Now, does that mean you should lie about what you look like? No, it doesn't. Absolutely not. I still think he should have been honest with me from the beginning, as it would have made the meet so much better. I probably would have still have met him because he was still kind of attractive. But I also learned that I probably shouldn't judge somebody's entire personality based on what they look like either. So in part 1 of this, someone asked me, would I still use dating apps again? Now, I was actually on Grindr this morning. So there's your answer. I still use dating apps. But I'm definitely more cautious about who I meet. Because this story ended well this time. I went there, I met him, we hooked up, nothing bad happened, and I came home safe. But not every Grindr story ends like that. There have been some absolutely horrific crimes committed on Grindr, where people have lured gay men in using Grindr to pretty dangerous situations, robbing them, assaulting them, or even worst case scenario, killing them. So you do need to be careful. And even back then, I had taken precautions. My family knew where I was going. My Snapchat location was on at all times. I showed a picture of this guy to my family. Fair enough, he looked a bit older than what he did in the picture, but the face was roughly still the same. And people knew where I was at all times. So although I eventually trusted this guy, after standing outside and talking to him for a while, I hadn't just disappeared off to meet some random stranger without anybody knowing where I was. If you're meeting somebody from an app, please tell someone. I know you might not want to because you're a bit ashamed that you're meeting someone, but tell someone. You'll thank yourself later if something does go wrong. Let somebody know where you're going. And if something doesn't feel right, leave immediately. Don't hesitate. I had a good feeling, that's why I didn't leave. But if you have a gut feeling that's bad, leave. But I actually want to know what you guys would have done in that situation. You get there, the guy clearly isn't who you were expecting to meet. You confront him about it. You're pretty pissed off. But then you actually start talking to him and realise he's a genuinely nice guy who's just massively insecure. What would you do? Would you have gone up the stairs? Would you have stayed and heard him out? Would you have hooked up with him? Or would you have just got back in your car and left? Leave your comments below, I'll definitely look at them, guys. And if you're new to the channel, please like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Please be safe out there on dating apps, and I will see you in the next episode.